In this video, I will review Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. This is the follow-up to Girl Wash Your Face, which I gave 4 stars. Keep watching to see if I rated this as highly or even better. Hi, I'm Linda and welcome to my YouTube channel, Better You Books, where I read and review books that help you to become a better version of yourself. In today's video, I will review Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. I'll tell you more about Rachel, the format of the book, my thoughts and key takeaways, my favourite quote, as well as who I would recommend this book for and giving it a rating out of 5. So keep watching till the end to see what score I gave it. I wanted to start by apologising for the short break in posting videos I've had recently. Unfortunately, my job has been made redundant due to Corona, so I needed a little bit of time to process that. However, I love making these videos and I've really missed them the last few weeks, so I'm really excited to be doing them again, and I'm going to continue, but perhaps a little less frequently due to my job search. This book, however, though, seems like the perfect book for me right now because it's all about embracing and achieving your goals. Girl Stop Apologizing was released in 2019 and it is the follow-up to Rachel's smash hit, Girl Wash Your Face, which I have previously reviewed, and they are both #1 New York Times bestsellers. Girl Stop Apologizing came out just a few short months after I first read Girl Wash Your Face, as that had started my obsession with Rachel Hollis. Then I snapped up Girl Stop Apologizing as soon as I could. I read it last year and then I reread it in January this year when I needed a bit more motivation, and then I reread it again so that I could do a review for you guys. As well as these 2 books, Rachel has also written 3 chick lit novels and 2 cookbooks, and she's also written 2 more books that are yet to be released, one about resilience, which is due out in September, and another one on health, which is due out next year. Rachel is from California, but she now lives in Austin, Texas. She's married to Dave Hollis, whose book I've also reviewed before, Get Out of Your Own Way. Although unfortunately, they've recently announced that they will be getting a divorce after 18 years together. Rachel is a passionate entrepreneur and she's always working on the next new thing. And at the moment, she's working on her health app, which is due out anytime soon. This book is divided up into 3 sections. The book starts with letting go of the excuses that keep you stuck, then moves on to adopting great habits and behaviours that set you up for success, before ending with how to acquire the skills necessary to make exponential growth possible. I got so many takeaways from this book, so it was really hard to narrow it down to just 3. The 2 that I got the most from this book and have actually put into practice in my own life, gratitude and goal setting, I don't really have enough time to do them justice right now, so I'm going to do separate videos on those. So apart from those 2, here are my top 3 key takeaways from reading Girl Stop Apologizing. #1, you aren't going to find the time to pursue your goals, you're going to make the time. Rachel talks about whenever she's pursuing anything new in her life, she doesn't ask herself, can I do it? She asks herself, what am I willing to give up in order to achieve it? She says that there is nothing in your life or your calendar that you don't allow to be there. She talks about this with an entertaining story in the book, so I thought I would read it to you. When something is sacred, you protect it. Imagine I came to you and said, hey, do you want to meet Chris Hemsworth for coffee at 3 p.m? You would of course say yes, because he's dreamy and he has an accent, and you're more than a little curious why Chris even knows who you are. You would put it in your calendar as a non-negotiable, because there are so many awesome and exciting things you'll experience with that appointment in your calendar. And then if all of a sudden someone says, hey, can you pick the kids up at 3:10? I know I said I was going to do it, but I can't now. You wouldn't just agree. You wouldn't just blithely blow off your date because it's Chris freaking Hemsworth. And that scheduled appointment, that promise yourself, is something you wouldn't give up lightly. Whatever vision you have for your future has to be at least as valuable to you as that coffee date with Thor, or whoever your version of Thor is. You have to recognize that your commitment to it will yield just as many awesome and exciting things as a date with a hunky Australian superhero. #2, Don't expect to be great at something new straight away. Rachel says when you're doing anything new for the first time, it should be given toddler status. She writes, "This isn't a question of whether you can do something well, because nearly anything can be learned. This is a question of whether you're humble enough to suck for as long as it takes for you to become better." She says you shouldn't compare your beginning to anyone else's middle. Just because you're inexperienced doesn't mean you won't succeed. It just means you haven't succeeded yet. And I can really resonate with this. I'm a perfectionist, so if I can't do something well, then sometimes I just want to give up on it. And I also do have a tendency of comparing myself to other people who are achieving things that I want to achieve. But it's not fair because I'm comparing the me who's on the starting line to the them who's 3/4 of the way through the race, and it's just not a fair comparison. Finally, number 3, other people don't get to tell you what you can have. Rachel writes, "Someone who's sitting in the cheap seats doesn't get to tell you how to fight in the ring. If you're not out here on the field, if you're not fighting for more, if you're not running these miles with me, or writing these words with me, or making new habits with me, or eating this kale with me, if you're not in the game with me, then you don't get to call any plays, and you darn sure don't get to offer negative comments about the work I'm putting in." And I completely agree. I love quotes, and this is my favourite one from the book. "There are 100 ways to swim, and one very easy way to drown, and that is by being unwilling to admit you're drowning in the first place." I really connected with this quote as it reminded me of what I can be like at work. I try not to complain. I try to do everything and more that I've been asked to do, but then sometimes I get slowly overwhelmed with the quantity of work and I start to drown. So this is a really useful thing for me to remember. When I first read these books, I actually preferred Girl Wash Your Face more. But now I've reread them, I actually feel the opposite. And I think it's because Girl Wash Your Face is less actionable, so it's easier to read and perhaps more enjoyable. But having reread them, the amount of takeaways and actionable insights I got from Girl Stop Apologizing, it is now definitely my favourite. This book was actually quite holistic, and Rachel covers a range of subjects in the book, including health, because she says that you have to have strong foundations on which to build on. A lot of the topics, she doesn't have time to go into them in detail, for example, confidence and habits. But if any of those pique your interest, you could decide to read more into them. I actually have a dedicated book to confidence and a dedicated book to habits. So I will be delving into those deeper myself one day. As Rachel is a motivational speaker, she really knows how to pump up and motivate people. I enjoy her writing. She makes me smile and laugh out loud. She's unflinchingly honest. And I really liked the scattering of pop culture references throughout the book, anything from Eminem to Saved by the Bell. Rachel has really big goals. For example, she wanted to speak on Oprah's stage and she wanted her own product line in Target, both of which she achieved, FYI. However, she says you don't have to dream as big as her. Your dreams can be smaller, they can be whatever you want them to be. It could just be simply getting in shape, and this book would help you to achieve that goal. I really like reading all of Rachel's stories. She's such a hard worker and a hustler, and it hasn't been easy for her to get to where she is today. Admittedly, Girl Wash Your Face was so successful, but it was her 6th book. She seems unfazed by failure and hearing the word no, and she just picks herself up and gets back on with it. And it made me feel really strong reading it because I felt like if she can do it, then so can I. Rachel uses a lot of her own experiences to demonstrate her points in the book, and you may not resonate with all of them depending on your circumstances in life. For example, when she was writing this book, she was married with 4 children, so it's definitely written through that lens. However, that's not my situation at all, and I still completely related and connected with the book. Everyone is different, so everyone will have their own favourite teachers, but Rachel really speaks to me. I love how ambitious she is, how driven, how unapologetic. I love the fact she dreams what she calls her big, audacious dreams, and she goes for them, and she often achieves them as well. Like Rachel, I am an achiever on the Enneagram personality test, which might be why I resonate with her so much. And I've always had this desire to always do the best that I could in any situation, no matter if it didn't make any sense to anyone else. And I'm always seeking out my next challenge, like Rachel. I don't think it will come as any surprise to any of you that I really enjoyed this book and I got a lot out of it. If you're wondering whether you need to read Girl Wash Your Face first, you don't have to. I think Girl Stop Apologizing can be read as a standalone book, but I think you would get more out of it if you read them both. I think that Girl Wash Your Face is a nice introduction to Rachel and it opens you up to the possibility of having a dream for yourself, whereas Girl Stop Apologizing is a lot more actionable and it teaches you how to achieve that dream. So, what score did I give it? To be honest, I've never found it more difficult to decide. The highest score I have given for a personal development book so far was 4.5 stars for Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure Outable. I love this book. It was formatted so well and the exercises were really useful. Between Rachel and Marie, they're actually really similar, but Rachel has the edge for me in terms of motivation. I always write down notes when I'm reviewing a book as I go along, and I was reading some of the notes that I made for this book, and I've written, wow, this was a really good chapter. I love her, and I feel like I want to give this book a hug. So I really like Rachel, and I found this book so actionable and full of takeaways. So it was a really tough call, but in the end, I've decided to make it a tie. So I am giving this book 4.5 stars. I think this book is good for anyone who wants more for their life and they want someone to fire them up. It's good if you don't know what your dream is and you want to work that out, and equally good for those who already have a dream and need help in how to achieve it. So what did you think? Are you interested in reading this book for yourself? If so, then drop me a comment below to let me know. I've included links to the book and more information on Rachel in the description. This book is also available on audiobook and Rachel narrates it herself for Audible. And there is also a free gratitude meditation included with that. If you're interested in this book but don't have the time to read right now, you can read the key insights on Blinkist in less than 15 minutes. And I've included a link to a free trial below. For my next video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and I'm going to be going into more depth on how to goal set the Rachel Hollis way. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, then please click subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you are the first to know about my future videos. I hope you have a wonderful week and I look forward to seeing you next time.